So beautiful lake. I guess there are thousands of people around this lake that have come out to watch the rowing or have a great afternoon out on a Saturday here in Poznan. The grandstands are pretty full with supporters and parents, but around the lake it's a great place to watch the rowing from. There's the weather, Tim.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, partly cloudy and mostly overcast conditions here, but it's not really hot, just 20 degrees centigrade, and more or less ideal conditions for rowing. And that tailwind is expected to remain more or less the same throughout this afternoon. And all the crews have been really relishing in those tailwind conditions.
Yeah, I think you can see there have been an issue with the level of the water, because every 4 years they drain the lake. The water should be up to where their feet are, but you can see how much lower the lake is now, which has meant the organisers have had to make some amendments to the sort of boating pontoons or the starting pontoons. There's some of the athletes, I think, from the British team. That's probably the women's four from the British team walking down for their final, which we will see later on this afternoon. They're staying in the Novotel Hotel, which is just on the far side of the lake. I think the Dutch team staying at the Park Hotel on this side of the lake, Tim.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. So loads of these athletes being, staying really close to the venue, and you can see the British crew there just walking towards the boating area, doing their warm-up, and we'll see them at 4 in the afternoon as we go to the next day final match.
Italy, Ukraine, Australia and Germany will contest this A final. It's the men's version of the event we just saw. Again, this is for athletes, the para category, PR3 category, for athletes who have a permanent and verifiable disability, which allows them to use the legs and the sliding seat to propel the boat, unlike the PR1 and PR2 categories. So it's the first time that this new para category has been in the under-23 championships. On the far side, we have Luca Conti from Italy, 21 years of age, already won medals in the under-23s in rowing, not sculling. Next to him, we have the Ukrainian athlete, Ivan Kupchuk, 20 years of age. He's in lane 2. Then Sam Stunnell, the Australian. We've seen a lot of Stunnell already this season in that PR3 mixed double sculls. He raced in Lucerne, finished second to the Germans. And then on this near side, Jan Rotlander from Germany, 19 years of age.
Yes, and he is very easily to identify because he's the only one racing in the yellow Empacker shell. I think all the athletes in the other lanes are racing Filippi shells in the white shells.
Yeah, it's fascinating how Filippi has become so much more popular. I guess in the last 10 or 15 years relative. There were a lot of yellow boats in championships.
Yeah, you're right. And this is Luca Conti from Italy. As you already mentioned, Martin, we've seen him racing at the World Rowing events this year, and probably the most experienced athlete in this final. And then Ivan Kuprychuk from Ukraine.
Yeah, Kuprychuk, he rows with Andrei Civic in the mixed double scull. An experienced competitor at World Championship level, as is, well, not yet Sam Stunnell. Hopefully he will be in the World Championships with Lisa Grissel in that mixed PR3 double scull to be held later in Shanghai. Here's the Germans, Jan Rotlander.
Yeah, I think his debut in the single, racing the PR3 men's pair earlier this season with Philip Dosse, but here at the Under-23 World Championship, he's racing in the single.
Yeah, started rowing back in 2018 at the Ruder Club Bergdorf, which I don't know, but it's in Hamburg.
Yeah, so it's the northern part of Germany,
yep,
where he's from.
So what's going through these guys' minds now? They're sat on the start, Tim.
Well, you tend to have a bit of nerves at the start. I mean, there's a lot of waiting around, so there's plenty of time for your thoughts to go basically anywhere. But you'll be very aware of the silence. I always was when I was at the start. And then the umpire calls you to attention, and then it's all about execution from there on.
So that wasn't such a long hold as the women's race, and the Sculls blast off. Looks to me like the Ukrainian has got an early lead. There's Conti, the Italian.
Yeah, looking very relaxed in those first few strokes, taking a glance to his left to see where Kuprichuk, who is slightly off the center line, outside of the picture here as we ride with the German Rodländer, who is lowest rating crew of them all, and he's also struggling a bit because the explosive start from the center lanes is quite something to behold.
It is, and no surprise really, when these guys raced earlier, it was Stunnel and Kuprichuk who were out in front of the races. Kuprichuk is the race leader at the moment. You can see from our drone shot, that gives a fantastic view, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And you can see his bow ball, the Ukrainian bow ball. He was ahead, but I think a really great second 250 here from the Australian, who now pushes his bow ball ahead, and he's opening up quite fast, Martin. Almost half a length now in just a few strokes.
Yeah, great move there from Sam Stunnel. You can see from our drone shots, the Australian in lane 3, that green and gold, so beloved of the Australian team. They call themselves the Rosellers after that very striking Australian bird, and this Roseller, Sam Stunnel, is really showing the way home in this race. He's from South Australia, from Adelaide, coached by Christine McLaren, who of course looked after Izzy Egan in the last race, and he has a canvas or a deck lead. What do you call it in the Netherlands?
Boegbal.
Boegbal, thank you.
Well, it is almost a bow ball of yeah. And the Australians, it's half a second at 500, and those two athletes really opened up. 7 seconds now back to Luca Conti from Italy, with the German athlete clear water down, but it's going to come down to these two athletes here. You can see them looking at each other. I'm glad to see that Kuprichuk from Ukraine is now in the center of his lane, because he was quite close to the buoy line, and that's always a dangerous place to be, Martin. If you catch your blade, the race can be done all of a sudden when you catch a crab.
So I think Kuprichuk, the sculler on the left of those first two, he was actually not racing flat out when these guys raced before, because through the 1,000 metres, Stunnel threw in a 3:38, and Kuprichuk, he threw in a 3:45. So there were 7 seconds between these scullers at the halfway mark. Well, it doesn't look like there's going to be that margin now.
No, not at all. And I think the Australian is very good at keeping his boat pointing straight towards the finishing line. I have a feeling that Kuprichuk is struggling a bit to keep his boat on the right course, because he's now again approaching that buoy line, and I saw his blade touch one of the buoys just a few moments ago, but he's much closer to the Australian than he was in the preliminary race.
Yeah, he's got a beautiful technique, hasn't he, Stunnel? He's just very relaxed on that recovery forward. Nothing fussy about the way he puts the blades in or takes them out, and that boat is now moving smoothly. And I expect him to take that gap and make it a little bit bigger, Tim.
Yeah, I would. He's not really going all out at the moment. He seems to be rowing well within his stride. You can see the lovely run that boat gets every single stroke from the Australian, whereas the Ukrainian is slightly more erratic, slightly more explosive, but he doesn't really utilize that shell to run in between the strokes, where the Australian looks so fluid out in front.
Yeah, this Ukrainian sculler, I mean, he's had experience in the World Championships. I remember seeing him back in Belgrade when I think he won that event against, I think there was just one athlete competing who was from Germany in the PR3 men's pairs, or one other boat competing. So he's got a World Championship gold medal, Tim. but I think the quality of the Australian para program, we're seeing that now with that gold medal in the PR3 mixed double sculls that Olschwager and Ayres took in the Paris Paralympics, and Sam Stunnell is now an heir to that sort of expectation and seems to be improving with every race that he's had in Europe.
Yeah, he looks so smooth, and if you look at the speed, I mean, he's the quickest boat out on the water, but he's, in terms of rate, he's really relaxed, 31 strokes a minute, and look at the travel that boat gets every single stroke.
Yeah, fair play to the Ukrainian though. He had a go, didn't he,
yeah,
in the first 500, and he was having a go in the second 500, and it cost him. And then, as you said, the superior technique, I think, the smoothness is just being utilised by Stunnell now to maximum effect.
Yeah, and now we and the Australian now across 1,500 meters gone, and he'll be, well, enjoying this final 500. I think he has opened up a large enough margin to just sit back and enjoy the final, well, minute and 50 seconds. But he will keep an eye out on Kuprichuk from Ukraine, because he's still going at it full tilt. I don't think he's going to make it because he's going to run out of water, but he's absolutely going for that gold medal.
Yeah, he is. So Stunnell transitioned to rowing full-time after injuries unfortunately cut his rugby career short. I gather there was a fantastic rugby match in Australia where the Aussies only narrowly lost to the British Lions after leading them. So I'm sure Sam might have been across that result. If he had time earlier today, perhaps he was just focused on this sculling event here.
Yeah, he will have had full focus on this A final, knowing full well he was the favourite to get it based on the results from Wednesday's preliminary race. But he's, well, I'm impressed by his race. It's really consistent, I'd say, as well. He's still maintaining that 32 strokes a minute, and you can just see the power of the end of the blades from the Australian. Really impressive stuff as he comes into the final 150 meters of this race.
Yeah, down the course we can confirm that in third place is Luca Conti, the 21-year-old Italian. He came close to qualifying for Paris in the PR3 Cox 4. Conti, he's not on the pace here. The sculler from Lago Pusano, which is that lake in northern Italy. I think the Dutch and the Americans train out before their international competitions. But coming down to the finish, it is Sam Stunnell, the youngster, just 18 years of age. He just eases off as he crosses the line and takes that gold medal in the PR3 men's single sculls, the under-23 category.
Yeah, dominant victory from the Australian. I think the margin back to second and silver medal of Ivan Kuprichuk was more than 13 and a half seconds. And again, Martin, a World Championships best time, which is to be expected, of course, because this is a new event. But he sets that benchmark at 7 minutes 28:31. And that is a great performance from the Australian. Bronze medal is across the line. Oh, yes, I think he is. Yeah. Conti from Italy. And last but certainly not least is, of course, Jan Roodlander from Germany, fourth across the line.
Yeah, and of course we saw the under-23 men's single sculls semi-finals, and they were sub 7 minutes. And I guess that's the mark of where these para-athletes are aiming for, to be as close to 7 minutes. And yeah, that's how the event is going to grow.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. And it's, I think, a great promise and a fantastic opportunity for these athletes to race here at an under-23 World Championship, and aiming for LA 2028 or perhaps even Brisbane. I think for Stunnell, of course, from Australia, he'll have the Olympic Games in Brisbane right in the back of his mind.
Absolutely. So Stunnell takes the win with 7:28. Kuprichuk, silver medal. Conti from Italy, some 30+ seconds back, and in fourth place, the German sculler Jan Roodlander.